What's up, everybody? It is Tuesday, so we are back. This is another episode of the Now for Later podcast. I'm your host, Eric Mika. Welcome back. Good to have you here, as always. I'm in a new space today. I got not kicked out, but somebody reserved the conference room I'm normally in for a birthday, which is fine. We adapt, we shift, we move on. That's what life's about. So yeah, welcome back. Hope you enjoyed last week's show. Garrett was a lot of fun. Some crazy stories, a lot of crazy stories. When you're a founder of a company that big and then you go on this huge journey with your family, obviously you're gonna have a lot of cool things to talk about. The one that blew me away, if you haven't listened, sorry to spoil it, but getting to Snapchat, having a contract with them to work for however long, hating it, wishing he was playing soccer, all these things. But then because of the movie The Interview with Seth Rogen and James Franco, because of that, pissing off North Korea and North Korea hacking into Sony and Sony having a chair member on Snapchat's board, everything gets leaked to the press, including the secret acquisition of Scan, which is Garrett's company, and then he gets to wiggle his way out, and he got the extra 10 million that was promised for quitting soccer and joining early, and he got to just leave and no longer have a boss and go on and do what he wants, which has turned into the bucket list family, which is crazy. Like, who knows if that happens if The Interview doesn't come out. Like, I mean, maybe that's connecting the dots a little bit too much, but I just thought it was nuts. It was also cool, just like that eventually, even though he did go against like his gut and his heart, and he did quit soccer because he had a partner involved. It's not like it was only his decision to turn down that money, but eventually things came back around, and he was able to still play soccer. I mean, like, I don't know. That one just kind of blew me away. It was also just nuts because of the movie. I've seen the movie. It's a funny one. It's a wild one. And so to think that like that would creep into such a big part of Garrett's story and then leak into our podcast was kind of funny to me. So like I said, very cool guy. Fun episode. So if you haven't listened, go and listen. Also, the week before that, my wife and I, Gabriella, we talked. It was fun talking to her about a whole bunch of nothing in between our segments, and who knows, we've kind of even discussed since then, because our videos have done well and people have maybe enjoyed them more than my podcast. So we're like, maybe we should just do a podcast and just shoot the breeze, talk about nothing, these funny hypotheticals that people like hearing us argue about, because that's what we do in our regular lives. So I guess it was real, it was authentic. Again, if you haven't listened, go listen. That's another fun one. I'm going to jump right into today. I think we might be in and out now that I kind of have this system down pat. I think I'll be a little bit quicker. So if you're with me, you don't have to stay with me quite as long this time. So lucky you. I'm going to jump right into rapid fires today. I decided to do 3 of them because those are the 3 that I care about the most, and I think anyone cares about to hear. Number 1 is pet peeve. Pet peeve of the week, which, by the way, last week's, 2 weeks ago, I think mine was with Gabby. We were talking about like not sending people texts, and yeah, this guy that I had a call with, he was like, hey, isn't this one of your pet peeves? No, but I did text him, but I had to reschedule anyways. So he was wrong. If you're listening, you were wrong. But it was close. It was a close call. We did text and we did get the call, so we were all good. But last week was that, or 2 weeks ago was that. This week is pet peeves, or the pet peeve is not saying thank you when someone holds the door open. I just don't get that. I don't want to like get too hot and sweaty because this room's already warm and I don't have a shirt under the sweatshirt, so I can't take it off. But like, man, it just doesn't make any sense. I feel like this happens to me almost daily, It's like, I know it's not a huge deal. I'm not like saving your life. I'm not giving you $1 million, but you can say thank you. You know what I mean? Like, even if you have headphones or like you're talking to someone, you can still give me like the nod and like the mouthing of the thank you, you know? You guys know what I'm talking about. Like, it's just like such a small thing for me to do, and it's an even smaller thing for someone to thank you for it. And I just don't like, I don't know. I keep saying I want to like call people out on this. This would be one like that would be kind of funny, not fun, but funny to do. Like next time someone just like blow it. It's always like, I get like, it's always someone in a rush or like on the phone, they're distracted. So maybe I should give them the benefit of the doubt, but still, I just don't get it. Like, maybe if I don't think they're going to give me the thank you, maybe I'll like run ahead to like block them getting to wherever they're going next. Or like if there's double doors, I'm thinking of like the gym at Lifetime where we go. There's like a door, and then there's like this little mini, I don't even know what it is, like foyer with like a couple benches. It's like a small space, and then the next door. If they don't say thank you, maybe I'll just like beat them to the next door. I don't know. I just don't get it. Fun plane experience. This one was wild. I thought of this when Gabby was talking about the two guys getting in a fight on her flight. When I was in high school, I don't remember where we were coming back from, but it was a tournament. It was during the season, like during the school year. We land in Salt Lake, and they get on the intercom, and they're just like, "Hey, don't get up yet. Like, stay seated. We're gonna have like law enforcement come on the plane." Or so, I don't remember what they said, but no one got up. You know what I mean? And we're all just kind of like, what's going on? So we wait there, and we're all in the back, and we're, you know, loud and annoying, and we're like joking about like what it could be. And then they get on, and police get on. They get on the intercom, and they're just like, I don't remember the guy's name. I was trying to find the article so I could like give you guys like an update or like more details to it, but I couldn't find it. So they get over the mic, and they're like, "Robert, whatever your last name is, Robert Franks." That was a teammate of mine in Stockton. wasn't his real name. "Robert Franks, we know you're on this plane. Turn yourself in. Stand up and turn yourself in." Like something like that. And we're all just like, "Oh shoot." And and then we're like, again, in the back, being loud, being annoying. We start like pointing at our assistant coach. We're like, he's right here. He's like, not saying it loud, but like kind of joking, like, "Oh, we should turn him in. We should turn him in." You know, just being idiots. And then we were like going crazy, joking about like what this guy must have done, like, you know, what he was arrested for, you know, public urination or kidnapping. I don't know. Like, we were just like making fun of this guy who apparently was on the run. And then no one stands up, obviously. And they made everyone, you know, deboard the plane with their ID and their boarding pass. And we're walking off. I get off. One of my teammates behind me gets off. The guy behind him is the dude, like who had apparently, come to find out, broken out of jail and gotten on a flight. That's what we had heard. That's like the update that we got, and that, which is crazy why I can't find that, but he was sitting next to us like the whole time. Like, so he was like, and so they like tackled him to the ground, arrested him. This is happening like right in front of me and my teammate. And then we were all like scared after, because we were like making fun of him, like saying what he got arrested for, like what a loser he was. And we're just like plastered in Lone Peak basketball like garb, like our head to toe. Like, this guy knows exactly what team this is, who we play for, what we play, like all these things. So we were scared watching getting arrested on the tarmac. Like, what if he just takes it out on us for no reason? I don't know. It was wild. Like, you don't hear about things like that. And again, the fact that I couldn't find an article on it makes me wonder, like, if I was told lies about it later on, like about the situation. But that's what I was told. So pretty crazy. I play moving on to the next one, a play that lives rent free in my head. It's not a play, it's a game. That's kind of been like more the case than like a play. But, I'm just going to go with hyping myself up and putting the triple double out there. About a year ago, I think it was January or February of last season. We were in RGV, so Rio Grande Valley, playing the Vipers. It's just one of the worst places to go in the G League, which, to give context, by the way, I'd been really close to getting a triple double. I got a lot of double doubles, and then I was getting like 5 to 7 assists, like a lot. Like I want to say like 6, 7, 8 times I had that last year. So I was getting close. It was just a question of like people making shots and, playing the full game or whatever it was. The other part was I was feeling, I had like food poisoning. But I decided like to just go on this trip. It was a red eye to Houston. I don't know why. We took a red eye to Houston, and I can't sleep on planes, so I'm sleep deprived. I slept on like a couch for an hour in Houston, and then we flew on like one of those little like butt planes. What do you call them? Little jumper planes to McAllen, right? So the day before I was sick, I knew I was going to get over that sickness. I just felt horrible. So I didn't want to go on the trip, but I decided to go on the trip because I think other guys were hurt. Our other big guy had just torn his ACL. So I was like, I can't not play. So I went. Obviously, I'm happy I went. Then I got no sleep. And then I think we lost the night before. Yeah, I think we lost the night before. I played well. I don't remember if I flirted with like a triple double or not, but like I played well, but we lost. And then the game came, and it was just like the most fun I've ever had. Like everything was just going my way. Like I set a screen that, I killed a guy on a screen and got a dunk. My post game was going. I was rebounding everything. Like I was just murdering them. And then on top of that, guys were just hitting shots. All my handoffs were turning into curls, which were turning into, one dribble jump shots. I threw like a 3/4 court pass to one of my teammates, John Jenkins, off a rebound. So ding, ding, rebound, pass, outlet. He took one dribble, pull up 3, hit that, So that was pretty awesome. I remember going to the bench too, like maybe in the third quarter at some point, and all the assistant coaches were like hyping me up, saying that, triple double alert. Like, and I knew I was playing well. I knew I had at least 5, but then I think at that point I had like 8. And everyone just wanted me to get it. So that was pretty cool. They kept putting me back in, and it was like a close enough game that it wasn't weird that I was still in. And then I got it, and I think I ended up with like even 12. So I had a couple extra ones to spare. And knowing the G League statisticians, no offense, I think I had like 16. Oh, what did I have? 16, 18, and 12 or something. I add like 2 rebounds and probably 2 assists to that. Like that's how awful they are, but that doesn't matter. That's a story for another day. So yeah, that one will live rent free in my head forever. Have the stat sheet, have the ball. Pretty fun game. It's fun to finally get that done, get over the hump. As far as what's going on, life off the court, I think I mentioned the team was on a road trip for 10 days. And then they had 4 days after that, which is so weird. It's like, who makes this schedule that you have? Like 4 or 5 times this year, we had 5 games in 7 nights. I think 4 times, which is absurd. And then we have 2 stretches here at the end of the season where we have like 10 days in between games. Like, I just don't get how there's some matrix that decides our schedule, and that is like an optimum outcome for a team. It's just stupid. So they left for 10 days, and then we didn't practice for 4 days after that. So 2 weeks I was just by myself with the fam, which has been fun because the weather is nice, but it was kind of weird. It like made me think a lot about like, well, honestly, what Garrett talked about. He's like, what do you do when money isn't an issue and like you have free time? Like you can do whatever you want. Like that's kind of the question that we faced for a couple of weeks, is like we are technically getting paid and we're not expected to do anything, like, so what do we do? So that's kind of hard, like, to grapple with. Like, it's hard to not be productive, not be part of like the growth of something. And yeah, so it was less, not that it wasn't fun. I don't want to say it wasn't fun and whine about like all this free time I had with the family, but it was different than I thought. Like you think you just like kind of sleep in and bum around and life would be good, but like that's just not in my nature. That's not in my wife's nature. So I think we've learned a lot about ourselves with the particular situation that we're in, and that's that we want to be doing something. We want to be improving ourselves, but also other people. We want to be. I heard something that I'm going to touch on later, where I heard it from, but they talked about like this person talked about a fulfilling life is there's a rule of thirds. I've heard a couple of different things that use different rule of thirds, but this one in particular says the people that you surround yourself, right? Like your inner circle, your board of trustees, whatever you want to call it, needs to be broken into thirds. And a third of them should be like a mentor. A third of them should be a peer that like has the same trajectory, the same growth mindset, the same interest, whatever. And then a third should be mentees, people that are under your wing that you're trying to help and coach and guide. And and I think that definitely made a lot of sense to me, especially given like the context of these 2 weeks is like, if you're not tapping into all those things in all these different parts of your life, then it's not going to feel super fulfilling. So yeah, it was a good couple weeks. Like I said, learned a lot about myself, so I can't complain. I've also been going crazy on the rowing machine. If you follow me on Instagram, you've probably unfollowed me or you've muted my stories just because I talk about it every single day. My older brother got really into it. And yeah, I don't know. I just think I hate it so much that I like doing it because I'm not doing anything competitively right now. And so it really is like the ultimate me versus me, because like I want to throw up at the end of these workouts. I'm pushing myself so hard. And I know I'm not like a pro rower. I don't even know like the form. I don't know the greatest workouts. I don't know the recovery or the supplement or the complementary workouts in the weight room that are going to help me improve my time. Like all those things I think will come, but I just think it's really hard. And so I feel really good when I finish. So yeah, I just have like these kind of fun goals of like, I've looked up like what it takes to get like a Division I recruit interest or scholarship, or what it takes, high tier versus low tier, different weights. And so yeah, I'm just kind of gunning for those times. And I figure if I can get those times, then eventually I'll catch up to like where a really good 29-year-old should be. I'm a little bit behind, but it's been a lot of fun. And like I said, it's a me versus me. And I'm kind of missing that right now, not playing basketball. And so rowing's kind of filled that in for me, but man, it is tough. I've done like 5Ks and I've cut down like a minute and a half. And so my fastest 5K is 17:45 right now. I want to say the world record is like 15 minutes. So getting close. We're getting close for sure. That means another 2 weeks I'll be right there. Just kidding. But yeah, that's been fun. I've been doing 5Ks, I've been doing 2Ks. I think my fastest 2K is like 6:30 or 6:35, somewhere in there. And like a high major or a high tier Division I college, like the Harvards, like the Yales, like I want to say like the Washingtons of the world, are typically to get interest. So like mind you, as an 18-year-old is like a 6'10". So I'm like 20 seconds off. I'm also 25 pounds over. And so it'll be interesting to see like as I lose weight, but also some of the power that comes with that weight, where my times fall. But anyways, it's been fun little side project. Go get recruited by a college. I have eligibility. Just kidding. But that'd be great story. Yeah. And as far as the knee, that's why I like it, because it doesn't put pressure on me. It works my legs like to death. I don't really know what it works actually. It just, everything hurts. And like I said, I like my natural inclination as soon as I finish is just lay on the ground and like in the fetal position and just cry. So I think it's working everything. But it doesn't like kill my knee, which I'm thinking about going to Tijuana and getting a stem cell injection in. So if any of you guys have done that, reach out. Let me know how your experience was, because I just don't want to do surgery. And this is something that I've heard from a lot of different football players and also non-athletes that just have things that are going on in their body and they swear by it. So I'm like, I'm just going to do it. And then, the other thing I want to talk about was this program I joined called Athlete Soul. One of the co-founders came on the podcast, and she'll be in season 2. Her name is Miriam Glaise. She's French, was a synchronized swimmer for a long time, was in the Olympics for France and Australia. Actually, kind of interestingly enough, she did both. And I found her, I think through LinkedIn, and we got on the podcast. And then this was in probably January. And, she knew where I was at that point. I don't think I was thinking about being done with basketball as much as I am now, but she just kind of invited to be part of her nonprofit called Athlete Soul. That is like a coaching transition platform. So they have like a really awesome app. They have all these instructors and psychologists and therapists and all, if not all of them, mostly all former athletes. And man, it's been cool. I've been doing it for, I think this week is my 8th or 9th week in this like cohort, they call it. So I'm with 11 other athletes who all different stages, but mostly like really close to finishing their career. Some of them are college or just finished their career or finished a little bit ago, but are making another pivot in their life and career. And it's been amazing. It's provided some clarity on myself, and my vision and hopefully what that means for me for the next couple of years. But what was interesting is like, I'm week 8, I feel like, or 9. I don't even think we touched on like, all right, what do you do after your athletic career finishes, like what I expected the bulk of the course to be about until like week 6 or 7, like really, really late into it. And the first half of it, it's just weekly. It's like an hour and a half each week. And there's homework in between on the app and a lot of great reading materials and videos. Like it really, really is awesome. So I was fortunate to have gotten that opportunity to be accepted, because it's kind of like a scholarship thing. And what's amazing and what I've loved about it is, and I don't even know my recommendation, but just like anyone who's listening, it's worth doing some soul searching, because that's what this has made me do. Literally these first 5, 6, 7 weeks have just been all about emotional intelligence and recognition in ourselves. Like learning how we feel. Like we don't even know how we feel sometimes. Like we can't pinpoint it. So learning how to pinpoint it and then kind of reverse engineer it and figure out, okay, I feel this way because of this and this way because of this. And then figuring out, okay, what can I now do about it? And different patterns and routines to kind of battle those things. And I don't know, it was just really eye-opening that like, I don't even know how I feel. I don't know how to talk about how I feel. I don't, of course, then know how to do something about how I feel. And so how could we even talk about what I want to do after, sports, if I don't even know myself or what I like or what triggers me or, what could potentially be, kind of like a perfect coupling between me and some, journey, some path, if I don't know these basic things. So it was really, really cool. Like I said, I don't have an invitation for anyone because I don't think you want to do this course, but something like it, like getting to know yourself and then reverse engineering it from there, I think is the way to go. And that's been a big part of like those 2 weeks. I said kind of how empty they felt, but also how good it was because I was able to recognize how empty I was, like it wasn't, it was easier to identify. It was easier to then go back and figure out, okay, well, what does this mean, and what should I do with this information, and what can I craft out of it. And so that's been really, really cool, and just made me open myself up a lot more. I think this podcast has been great for that, because I do feel in general just a lot more introspective, I guess, from doing this, and from talking to so many different people, and from having to be transparent with you guys, and with these people I'm coming in contact with. And this is just absolutely aided in all those things times 100. So yeah, it's basically to tell whenever it's scheduled and Gabby's like, what do you have? I basically just tell her, oh, I have the athlete therapy thing. Cause that's what it is. That's what it feels like. And, it's been really, really cool. Cause I don't have much experience with therapy, with like actual traditional therapy. And so it's been good for me. All right. On to the next thing. I wanted to highlight one of our former guests, our season guest finale from season 1. That's Coach Diljit Taylor and the BYU track and field. Absolutely crushing at nationals. I think it was, by the time this airs, 2 weeks ago. Bunch of records, school records, personal records, national records, national champions. I mean, like really, really cool stuff. And if you've heard her episode, you know exactly why. If you haven't, go and listen and you'll hear why. I mean, like she's just electric, and she had this great like clip come out of her just like screaming. They were in the indoor track, and she's just like screaming down track to like get people off the lanes, like as they're preparing to do their runs. Just like regular students or other athletes, just like crossing the path. And yeah, she's incredible. So big fan of her, and congrats to them and to the whole BYU team. I kind of wanted to, as I was getting ready to talk today, I kept seeing more and more and more conversations about arenas going in all over the country. And the biggest, most recent one is with the Kansas City Chiefs saying that they'll leave Kansas City. This is the owners saying that they'll move, or they might have to move. Like these kind of like almost like a threat. I read it as they'll leave if they don't get the help, the quote unquote help that they need to build or to renovate. Now, keep in mind these owners, and I'm telling you this because like since our last episode when Gab and I discussed this, I think I'm absolutely on one side of it now. Reading some of these articles, I also had a great conversation with one of my former teammates, Kyle. And yeah, this is a one side for me. I'm not in the middle. I don't see both sides. These owners are worth $25 billion. And they're saying that they'll pay $300 million of the $800 million project. And they're almost out there like, oh yeah, well, if we don't get it, I guess we'll just have to leave. That's psychotic. Like, you will be making so much money. You have made so much money off this team. You're going to continue to make so much money. You do this $800 million project, you are going to benefit a million times over anyone else, right? Like, I don't get their argument now that I'm kind of seeing like more and more owners do it. I just don't like it. So I guess thank you, Kyle. You opened my eyes. That's why we keep you around. Yeah, I don't know. Money just makes people do crazy things, which leads me to my next current event that I've been thinking a lot about, which is March Madness. I've been watching it. First of all, hard for me to watch college basketball nowadays. I don't know. I'm sure it was the same when I was there. It's just slow. People are just unskilled. It's just a tough watch. Like, except for the very, very elite teams, which maybe there's 10 of them. It's just hard to watch. But just got me thinking so much about NIL and how ridiculous I think it is. Like, the more I hear, the more I'm gathering, the more I'm finding that kids are just being lied to. And then the transfer portal then aggravates, everything, because if you get lied to, or even if you get all the money that you're promised or whatever it is that you're promised, and you just don't like the coach, or you don't like this, or you don't like that, blah, 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 like, you just bounce. People just leave. And, you had these guys going to like 4 different colleges, or with their COVID year, they go to 5 colleges in 5 years. And it's just like, what is that teaching you about life? What is that teaching you about development, like, and about relationships? Like, nothing. Like, I get there's extenuating circumstances. I think people should not just be banned from from transferring. Like there's valid reasons. Your coach leaves. There's something going on with your family. You have a different career trajectory that you want to take. And there's another school that's better suited. Like, and yes, even like sports related, there are good reasons, but just like, I don't know, there's got to be some application and to get past. Cause like people are just leaving because they aren't getting playing time. And then it's trickling down to high schoolers who are doing the same thing. And it's just like, and they're like, they are the parents. I had a conversation with a parent who was telling me this about their kid a couple weeks ago. And I'm just like, you're delusional. Like they're like, yeah, he's way better than everybody, or was at their previous university. But, the politics and the coach and the blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, those things exist. But like to the point where he's killing them in practice every day, all summer, this, that, and the third, all these things you're telling me. And they're not like, no coach is that stupid or that into the politics, these quote unquote politics that just get thrown around recklessly. Like if he's that good, then he's going to play or he's going to get better. And so I just think like, yeah, him transferring to now a smaller school and he's still not playing. It's like, well, now what? What's the excuse now? That coach is also an idiot. That coach also doesn't see his potential and is blind. So you're going to go to the third school? Like, which by the way, the first school was an Ivy League school and you got most of your degree from there. And then you go to like some other crap university. Like just at that point, just read the writing on the wall. You're not a pro athlete. That's fine. Go get a great education and leverage the hell out of it. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just maddening. And I know those are two separate issues, but I just feel like they just fuel each other and make it worse. Oh, and by the way, Nick Saban was like with Ted Cruz or something talking about this in Washington. And he's talking about how that was part of the reason he retired is just because the, NIL is just out of hand and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, you're full of crap. Like this guy made so much money, had so much success, is a legend in coaching because he always paid his players. And it's like, the gig's up, man. Like everybody knows. Like I know a player personally. Both he and his dad told me when he went on his visit, he ended up going somewhere else. But whoever was, chauffeuring or handling or showing him around just left a bag of cash like in one of the trash cans and was like, it's amazing what people throw away these days. And both of them were like, yeah, right. Like they had no idea what this guy was talking about. And then finally he was like nodding his head like towards the towards the trash can, and they just had a bag of cash, which they didn't take because they were going to go somewhere else. But I don't know. I'm just like, he's saying how it's ruining the game and it's ruining, these guys. And I don't even know all of his talking points, but he just doesn't like it. And that was part of the reason he left. I'm just like, you don't like the even playing field? Like, what are you talking about? So I'm on his side, but I think he's full of shit, is what I'm trying to say. And I want guys to make money. Like I am 100% salty that I didn't get money. I think I would have made a ton of money, if NIL was around. Well, I don't know what I would have offered or been offered versus actually paid, but there's just got to be a middle ground. There's got to be a way to get these guys money and to set them up for life, but to meet in the middle. So I don't know what that is. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. I've heard being thrown around like, well, what if you only get paid if you stay? You never transfer, you get your degree. Or I was even going as far as like, what if you go as far as making them go to class and develop outside their sport, be involved in the community? Like, I don't know. You could take that as far or as not far as you want, but I'm just like, okay, let's get them paid, but let's also like set them up for life. You know what I mean? Like in a much better way. Maybe I'm onto something. Maybe because there's all these collectives and it just seems messy and it seems inconsistent and it seems nasty and it just doesn't seem like, other than guys getting money, it doesn't seem like this is benefiting players at all. Like at all. Like I said, am I salty I didn't get paid $1 million when I was in school? Yes, 100%. It keeps me up at night. But that's not the base of my stance. I'm just looking from the outside in, and that's how I feel. I just thought of a story, and no great transition because it's just not connected. This is later on. No, nothing to do with college, nothing to do with NAL, but this is a wild one. If you want like a quick glance into what it's like, I feel like most of my stories are just like when I lived overseas, because I think those times were the craziest times in my career, just because you're living in another country, dealing with another culture, with people that think and act and behave and whatever their lives so differently from yourself. And so that's what makes for some great stories. But this one, I don't know why it came to mind. When I was in France, we had a good team. Well, we had a good roster to start the season. And we lost like a preseason game that we shouldn't have lost. You know, like one of those ones where we played down to their level. You know, they had a great game. And preseason is just so serious over there. And so we should have known. We were guys that had been around, and we should have just stomped it out as soon as we started. But we didn't. We lost. And the team that we lost to actually ended up like being decent that year. They weren't like the level that they were the year before, and that's why our coach freaked out, because like the year before they were horrible. Anyways, we lose. Americans always get the blame, almost always, at least in my experience. They get more of the blame, which is fair, because like they're expected to do more. They're usually on the higher end of the paying scale for the team, but yeah, still a bit much. And coach gets us in this little locker room, and all the Americans sitting next to each other. Maybe we had a bit of a divided team, might have been the issue, but we're all sitting there. And he's going off on everybody. He literally turns to us. There's 5 of us. And he's like, and you guys. He's like going down the line, ripping everybody. He goes, and you guys, just us collectively. He's like, one of you is not going to be here tomorrow. Oh my gosh. So like, yeah, we took most of the blame. One of us was not there the next day. Honestly, he left the room, and this was so early into the season, but we could tell, like, all right, this is how it's going to be. This dude's insane. And we kind of looked around and joked, like, I hope it's me. You know, like we were all like, please just let it be me. Like, let me get cut, get some settlement, and I'm just going to go somewhere else, go home, you know. And this guy, he eventually got fired in like March or something. He also cut somebody. So that guy got cut like a month later, maybe 6 weeks later. He brought in someone else. That guy was eventually cut like 6 weeks after that. So he was only there for a pit stop. Poor guy. He played for like 3 teams that year, but the third team was a team in Israel, and he won the Israeli championship, which was awesome. And that's a good league, and he played really well. Anyways, he got cut by the same coach like 6 weeks after he got signed, after a game in the locker room in front of everyone. He was like, hey, by the way, he did the same thing. He loved just going down the line and just ripping everybody. He gets to this guy. He was like, just don't worry about showing up. I'm going to talk to the GM and the president, and like, you're out. Crazy. That was a big strike against the coach, and reason why he was later fired, because he had 3 strikes. That was the first one. Believe it or not, that was the first one. Yeah, what a year. What a year. Yeah, and I'm just going to leave you guys with this. I told you it'd be quick. It's been 40 minutes. It's quicker than usual, so yeah. This one is from an old film. I'm going to steal this from one of my future guests, Justin Sua, who has been on the show. I say future because his episode obviously hasn't come out. And I listen to his podcast every morning. It's awesome. It's called Increase Your Impact. And he quoted this, so I went and looked up like the context, and I want to read it to you guys. So it's from the movie called Lawrence of Arabia. Lawrence is talking with a couple fellow soldiers, one of whom has an unlit cigarette. Lawrence pulls out a match and lights a cigarette. With the 2 soldiers watching, he then puts his fingers on the match and slowly snuffs out the flame without a flinch. One of the soldiers, named Potter, is mystified and tries the same trick, exclaiming as his fingers touch the flame, "Ooh, it damn well hurts." I'm sure it was a British accent. I should look up the clip. Lawrence's reply is clear. Certainly it hurts. Potter looks blankly at Lawrence and inquires, well, what's the trick then? Lawrence says the trick, William Potter, is not minding that it hurts. So I just want to leave you guys with that. That's like the thought of the week is, and this is the part that Sua expounded on, and I loved his perspective, which was life, not life, things are supposed to hurt. Like there are no shortcuts. There are no tricks to things that matter and things that are worth, you know, going through some adversity and going through some pain and some up and downs and some some growth spurts, which also hurt, like there's just not always a trick. There's not always a shortcut. And so if you don't mind that it hurts, then you're going to accomplish some cool things. So that's my thought. That's the thought that I'm taking with me this week. So hopefully you guys can find some worth in that as well. I'll leave you with that. I'll leave you with also next week's episode. In 3 days, I'm going to be recording it. So it's going to be a quick turnaround. It's with Carmelita Jeter. Actually, hopefully I record in 3 days. Obviously I shouldn't set you guys up like that. I think it'll be with Carmelita Jeter, which I'm very excited about. Gold medal winner, held the title of fastest woman alive for 12 years, I think. World record setter in track and field. And now she's coaching down the street at UNLV. So very, very excited about that one. And I've put out there some question boxes. So if you're hearing this and something comes to mind that you'd want to ask a gold medal winner or Carmelita in specific, then make sure you go on Instagram and let us know. As always, go rate and review. It helps us out immensely. And yeah, we'll see you next Tuesday. Thanks for listening.